But I'm a freedom glutton, and I wish I could instill that freedom gluttony in people around me. To hate bondage, to hate fear, to hate sadness, to hate bitterness, and to say, that is not why Jesus died. He didn't die, so I can still live as though he didn't make a difference, because he did. He made a difference in every aspect of our lives. And he bought it so dearly that we should say, Jesus, what other freedom do you still have for me? What else can I put down? Which other issues would you like to heal? Because I can be healed. At the end of Isaiah 54, God says to Israel, who were devastated at the point, he said, I create the blacksmith that fires up his forge to make a weapon designed to kill. And I create the destroyer, but no weapon that can harm you has ever been forged. So what he's saying there is, you're afraid of so many things, so many forms of brokenness, so many people who can break you. Maybe you're not even afraid of them. Maybe you're just afraid of Satan. Well, I made him too. So you have to get your categories right. There's weapons, and there's the people wielding the weapons, then there's the evil forces behind the weapons. But I am above all of this, and I tell you now that you're not going to be destroyed. And whatever brokenness we're dealing with, Satan wants to tell us, and this is how life as you know it ends. You'll never be happy again. But the word says otherwise. I mean, you talked about it a couple of times, how you believed for a long time that the best of life is behind you and it'll never be good again.
Yeah.
And it stole how many years of joy from you?
Oh, at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Now, in this, I think you're talking about the fact that you do have to face your fears, face your bondages. You can't hide from them, run from them. You can for years. You can try to play a game of, I won't ever go there, but the only way to find freedom is to go through it.
Yeah.
And like you were able to forgive someone who raped you by walking through it, the process of forgiveness. Or even the needle example, you, instead of running from it, you said, okay, I'll tackle it. But I do believe a lot of us are afraid to go head on into the very thing that will bring healing.
Yes, and I feel that the Psalms encourages us to do that properly. And when we look at how David did it, he sat in his sadness, and a part of me looks at some of his Psalms and thinks it reads like a pity party. But it's not what it is. It's somebody saying, I am going to strip down all of my facade. I'm going to lay bare my heart before God. I'm going to unzip my chest, and I'm going to show everything that's in there. And in Psalm 38, there's just some of the words he says, I feel pressed down, bent over, guilty, faint, crushed, agitated, abandoned, threatened, sorrowful, hated, anxious. I mean, those are a lot of heavy emotions, and he just lays it out in one psalm. And then when we look at the book of Lamentations, Jeremiah crafted those poems of mourning for his nation and for all the brokenness that he saw when God judged Israel. And he didn't just gush it out. It's written in an acrostic fashion. So the first line starts with the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and then the second one. So the 22 lines match the 22 letters of the alphabet. So he sat there saying, in how many ways can I say this? How devastated I am, how much this hurts. He made poetry out of his pain. And we think, no, just snap out of it and say you're fine. But he says, no. And God says no by having this published in the Bible and having that lament there for us to look at, but then also that encouragement of his mercy being new every morning. Because even Jesus had to do this. He had to get Peter, James, and John away with him into Gethsemane. And these were his words. He said, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. If we don't have, I think, at least the Peter, James, and John that we can say, listen, I'm scared to death right now. Or I'm so upset I can't sleep. Just say it as it is. Because if Jesus could do that, then we have permission to be that vulnerable. And it's important to be that vulnerable because, Robert, I think the alternative to to expressing those emotions to God and to one another is to try and numb them. And Louis and I, on the way back from vacation this week, we listened to Brené Brown, and she said something about vulnerability, and she said, we can't selectively numb the emotions we don't want to feel. When we numb sadness and fear and anger, we also numb joy and love and contentment. And so it's either medicating our pain, or it's walking through it and working through it in community and also in relationship with God.